Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher, and I hope you're doing well. Um, Welcome to another session of Not Perfect Zen. I had to start this video over again, so I'm kind of lost here for a second, but I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to show you this pattern, which is called Feeling Knotty by Cherryl Moote, and she's a CZT. And I will be inserting into this video some images of some of the tiles that I've done in the past and give you some ideas of what you can do. It looks a little complicated. It is a version of a Celtic knot, but this one is easy. And this is one of my pieces of scrap paper. Go out a little bit. Okay, so if you go to her step outs, which are available on tanglepatterns.com, you'll see that she has these 4 versions of that Celtic knot on her site. Okay, and I'm going to start by just showing you how to do these, and then we will actually do a tile using that. So for this, you're going to need Micron, whether you do or use a PN or a Micron 01, and I'll use a graphite pencil and a blending stump. And I always have an eraser handy. This is a kneaded eraser, and I need to get a tile ready. And I'll be using a 3.5-inch tile when we start on that part. Okay, so I'm going to start by showing you this one, and I'm going to do it on just a scrap piece of paper. It looks complicated, but it's not. It's not bad. So we're starting with this one. So in the center, we're going to need a square. Okay. And then next, remove this. We're going to put a line parallel to each of these lines, same length. And I'm going to turn my paper to make it easier for me to try to keep it straight. You can make this as wide or as narrow as you would like. If you want to put a pattern inside of these, then you might want to make it a little bit wider. And by watching what I'm doing and looking at Cheryl's step outs, I really think that you can do this and you'll enjoy it. Okay, so we have those lines. And like I said, we're going to do this version of it. So what we do next is just put our little C curve on each of these. And we could have done that at the same time, but I'm going to do it like this. Okay. Now the thing about Celtic knots is you always have one of these bands going over the other, then under, over, under. Okay, same thing on this side. This one's going over, under, over, under. Okay, so we're going to start with this side. And this, if you look at it, is going to go over and around to this side, and then we're going to stop right there. So going to go over and just go parallel to this one. And what we're aiming for is this line is going to meet up right here. Okay. So let's bring it around, but it's going to go under. Okay. So this one is going over. So we're going to go ahead and put our line here to show that it's going over, but we're going to stop when we get parallel with that line. Then we're going to turn it, and we're going to do the same thing on all sides. Okay. So here we're going to go up, over, and it should kind of line up with that one. And then we stop and fill in that side. I think in Cherryl Step Out, she does this part first. If it helps you, then do that part first. Again, we're going to go up, around, stop, turn, up, around, and it should kind of line up with that one. And then we need to go back over here and put our line. So now we've done it. Under, over, and the same going this way. Went under, over, and over. Okay, not so bad. So now let's try this one. So we can do it with a triangle. And a triangle will start, of course, with the triangle shape. And I'm hoping to get each edge to be the same, but it doesn't matter if it's not. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go parallel with these lines. Okay. And then if you want, this is what I was saying in the first one, you can go ahead and put your little dome on top of that. Okay, let's do the next one. And I'm having the ends of these kind of line up with that. That makes sense. Little dome. I think this one is definitely wider than the other ones. There are templates that you can get for drawing that have squares and circles and diamond, triangles, all kinds of stuff. But we're not looking for perfection. Okay, so here we are. We're going to go around, and then it's going to meet on that other side. So having that about the same size as what we did here, and then I stop. And then I'm going to go ahead and add this line, turn my tile. Now we're going to do the same thing. I think it took me a couple of times. You might want to do this just in pencil a few times. Okay. And then that line. And we know that line goes there because the other one is going over. Okay. So here's our last one. Over. And it should meet up with that one. And then we go back over here and put our line. Okay. So the next one I'm going to show you is this one, which is basically the same thing. And you could do this on the square one or the triangle. Just make it yours. Okay, so we're going to start with another triangle. And then our parallel lines. And like I said, you can go ahead and put this little dome on it. Make it as fat or thin as you would like. I have done some intricate Celtic knots, but I do find that I like the more simple patterns, and this one is fun. You can do a lot with it. Okay, so now we're going to add our outline, or our outside line rather. So I'm going to start with this one. And as I come around, I'm going to go up to a point and then come back down. And again, I'm kind of going in the direction of that line. I'm going to stop and put my line down here. Okay, so we're going to do that again. Go over, around, up, and back down. Stop when you're close to that line. Put your line here. And then here's our last side. Go around and up, back down to that line. And then we go back over here and put that one in. Okay, so there are 3 ways that you can do that. And again, like I said, with this one, you can do these same pointed outside curves on the square if you'd like, or you can make triangle up here. So that's what we're going to do on our tile. And as with all of our tiles, I try to remember to start with gratitude. And I am very grateful to be here, to be able to share this with you and show you something that I think you'll enjoy. Move up just a little bit. Okay. So I do appreciate the supplies that I have. I appreciate people who share their patterns and videos, because I do watch other videos, not just mine. Okay, so our 4 dots and our border. Okay, and now we're going to start with our pin. And you can make this as large or as small as you would like. I'm going to do a fairly good size because we're going to put a pattern in the center. And just try to center your square. If it's not centered, it's okay. And if it's not exactly square, it's also okay. All right, so now we have our square. And we're going to come out as far as you like. Let's make this one just a little bit wider. And stop. And then I'm going to go ahead and make triangle here. Okay, here's our next one. And then I like to kind of try to find the center and then finish my triangle. Trying to keep these the same width. And the center would be about right there. Okay. Here's our last side. And you can see I didn't get it the same distance. It's okay. Okay. So just like with the others, we're going to go from here around the outside and then back around. Okay. So we're going to start here. And I'll show you one of the things that Cherryl does in her step out that might help you is from each of these corners, you can go ahead and make that line. Turn it from the left side, connect those lines. From this side, connect, turn it, and connect. Okay, when you look at her step outs, a lot of them are just like this. So I want to show you how she likes to do it, and it's very helpful. And now we're going to come up from any one of these sides and start doing our aura that goes around. And I've kind of rounded that edge. Come back down. And we're going to stop above that line. Turn. Start again with this corner. Go up. Turn. And get to the top. And we're aiming for being where it would go back under there. Okay. Okay, one more. Okay, there we go. We've done 4 different ones now. So this one, this one, this one, and now that one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the same patterns that I have inside of this one. You could change color if you want to, switch to a different pen, but I'm just going to continue with my black pen, and I'm going to put Welll. This is the square version of Welll, but the triangle version works just the same. So we're going to start with just an orb here. You can fill that in if you want, or leave it open. And then I'm going to come down to each corner with a curve, turn my tile, come around that corner, and then back down to that one. Okay, and then we're going to come as if this one is coming back down here. So off that corner, off that edge of that circle. Circles don't have corners, Barbara. And then down to here. I'm going to go ahead and fill that in, actually. All right, so we're going to do that again. Add our dot in the middle. And you can go either this way first or that way first. Doesn't really matter. Okay. And then we turn this into petals. I love to use Welll as a filler. All right, one more. We're going to come back. Okay, so now we have well in each of those corners. And the next thing we're going to put in is paradox, which is one of my all-time favorite patterns. And this one is by Zentangle. And it's actually easy to do if you just take your time. And what I try to remember with paradox is I'm going to start small and go big. So from this corner, very small, we're going to do a straight line. So it got bigger. Okay. We're going to start at the end of that line. We're going to do the same thing. So it started out small and it gets bigger. Turn your tile. Some people get a little confused. Okay, I got to talking and I didn't do that one right, but it's okay. As long as you keep an eye on that last one, you can get right back to where you started. If you are doing paradox and you have to stop, then stop in the middle of the line. Do what you need to do and then come back. And then you know exactly where you were at. And I was confused in the beginning until I just started telling myself, start from small down here in this corner. So at that point, and go big. Okay. And I'm trying to get these about the same size. If they're not, it's okay. I have filled up a tile with paradox. And once you figure it out, to me, it's just so meditative. I really get into my Zen when I'm doing paradox. And you can do it inside any shape. And what's so cool about paradox is that you're only adding straight lines, but you end up with this cool spiral in the center of your pattern. And it is helpful if you continue to turn your tile. I know when Rick does it, he turns his tile all the way down to the very center. So do whatever's easiest for you. When it gets this small, I can actually do it without turning my tile. Okay. All right, there we go. Paradox. And I'd like to know in the comments what you think about paradox and if you would like to see another tile done with that. Okay. So I'm happy to say I didn't have to use my eraser. But again, if it's easier for you, start doing these first in pencil and then come back and do them in ink. Okay, so I'm going to start by putting some shading just at the top of these. Where they all meet at the other line. And we can put a little bit of shading here in each of these, and that will kind of hide the oops that I made. I was in a class that I took from my friend Yehudi Steinberg yesterday, and I got my brain going in the wrong direction. And what I had done on the tile, it was a Zendala, couldn't be fixed. And I didn't want to start over, so I just featured it on my tile instead. So if you can't fix it, feature it. But there are also a few ways to hide it, like we're doing here with our shading. Okay, so I'm just going to soften this so I don't have any straight, obvious lines coming off of that. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is where these little bands go under another one, I'm going to put some shading on each side. Turn your tile to keep your hand comfortable. Okay, now we're going to blend that just very softly. And then it makes it look like the shadow is caused by this band going under the other band. And in here, I'm actually just going to add a little bit of shading, graphite, inside this area that we left open. Adds a little bit of contrast. And I'm doing it very lightly. And then I'm going to take my blending stump and just soften that a little bit. Okay. Another thing that you can do if you want is on these little petals, you can put just a little flick. Look at mine and see if you like it. And if you don't, then don't add it. So just for a little added touch of detail. This is pretty done in various colors. And like I said, I'm going to show at the end of this, I'll insert some photos into the video that show you how I've done this in color and with patterns that go on these bands. And like I said, if you want to do patterns here, then you'll want to make these wider. I used to like putting in the tiny, tiny detail, but not so much anymore. Okay, now you could also add your border, add some more patterns around here. If I were to add more patterns, I would probably put an aura around this, add some patterns and a border, but this was my focus for this video. Feeling Feeling Knotty? Back out. Okay, so we used Feeling Knotty, Paradox, and Welll. These two are by Zentangle. Feeling Knotty is by Cherryl Moote. Okay, as always, I really appreciate you watching my videos. Greatly appreciate it if you would hit the like button, and that helps me because I was talking to another CZT who has YouTube channel, and there's not a lot if you don't have a huge number of followers and watch time. You don't get much from YouTube, but I enjoy the amount that I get because then I use that to take classes from other Zentangle teachers. So I appreciate you watching. I appreciate the likes. And if you share this with friends, that's great too. If you want to tag me, this is the best way to do it at BBL_tangles. In Facebook, it's Barbara Buford Langston CZT, or you could use this hashtag. All right, thanks again. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye.